laugh. Shit.
Greetings and welcome back. It's your girl Samira LaRosa, Samira TV. Tuned in, baby. Alright, so the first episode, we discussed the gut, okay? And first episode, last episode, I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous. Yeah, I was just nervous, but I'm glad that I did it. I feel more confident, and yeah, so we're gonna get right into it. All right, so last time I didn't get to explain my lovely background and my whole set. My flowers from my wedding, my beautiful 2 apple trees, as you can see. I don't know if you can see it, but it's right here, and you can see this one kind of withered down a little bit. I don't know what was going on with it. My godfather gave me this plant, and it's a Jamaican apple tree. This one is too. Now you can see the difference. This one seemed like the leaves is withered off of them. My husband had to replant them, and my husband put this beautiful set together, by the way. Shout out to my husband. Yes, and so this one, you can tell it's more healthier, and this one right here is just getting back. You had to repot it, resoil both of them because they're getting bigger, but they're outside of their comfort zone. See, these are Jamaican apple trees, and I'm down here in South Florida. So, I mean, it's still tropical, but the climate is still different. And then, as you can see, this one right here is my aloe tree. And I've never grew anything before. Well, yeah, I have attempted to grow things before, but they didn't make it, unfortunately. So, as of right now, these are the only things I've successfully gardened myself. And then you see the nice papaya. Try to keep it all natural, you know what I'm saying? I do got my fake plants, but they sentimental. They mean something. So yeah, that's the set. All right, the topic. Y'all know the motto, optimal health as well. This episode topic is molestation, child molestation. Now, someone would say, what would make her jump from episode 1 talking about the gut to episode 2 molestation, child molestation on top of that? Like, what would cause that drastic jump? And it's so funny. I'm currently in school right now to be a broadcaster. I graduate in July. Shout out to City College. But anyways, yeah, so taking up journalism, broadcasting, and I was talking to some of my classmates about, gardening, and I mean, not gardening, Lord have mercy, my phone is ringing, I'm distracted. What was that? Okay. So I was talking to some of my colleagues about child molestation. And the reason why I was talking to them about it, and the reason why the topic is so drastic, is because when I started to change my whole diet, when I started cutting out a lot of processed foods, a lot of meats, a lot of sugary stuff, my behavior started to change, and my mental started to change. And at first, like, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really know what was going on, because it's like I'm going on with my day, like I got my newfound lifestyle, but I'm still, I still got to be a mom, I still got to be a wife. I still got to be a student. I still have to be an employee. Like I'm still doing all the daily activities of living, but not knowing that this newfound lifestyle has changed my whole being. Like even my, from physically, mentally to spiritually. And that's the thing. That's why last video I said that it's worth it, but it's hard. It's very hard. Like it's not easy. It's not an easy thing to do. But it's worth it. Like I never want to discourage anybody from doing the right thing, and that's why I'm on here, sharing my journey. Sharing the things that I experienced, because a lot of times you might run into a vegetarian or a vegan or somebody that does a plant-based eating lifestyle, and they tell you that's what they do, but you don't necessarily know everything they went through to get to that point. So the drastic topic change is due to the drastic behavior change, the drastic thinking change, the drastic mental psyches that I was going through. It's like I went back to things that subconsciously I was like pushing out of my psyche, things that I was, burying, that I never had dealt with. And the thing that seemed to trump everything was back when I was 4 years old, when I was molested as a child. So I have to be real. I say I'm going to get on here, I'm going to keep it real. That's going to be the difference maker between my channel and a lot of other channels. People will get on Facebook, social media, even me, I'm guilty of it. So when I say people, I'm including myself. So we're going to go ahead and, pretty much put that to rest. If I say people, if I say you, if I say us, I, whatever, just know that I'm including myself. Okay, so people, they often champion on the success, but we don't share necessarily what it took or the things that we went through along with the success. And that's what my channel is going to demonstrate. That's why I said, that's why I go by the principle optimal health is wealth, and my channel is to educate, motivate, demonstrate, and elevate, period. So that's, we're in a no judgment zone. So I'm telling my story, and it's nothing against any pedophiles. It's nothing, all I can do is speak for me. And if it touches you, then it touches you. But I'm going to tell my story because I know what it feels like to not have a voice and not to be able to speak. Literally, not to be able to voice your opinion. So I always admire people that are able to communicate and, to be able to tell the truth. We live in a society where fakery is so real that people are just so far away from the truth. And I'm keeping my channel strictly for the truth. So everything I speak, I'm definitely gonna have fact check me. Y'all can fact check me. I'm gonna fact check myself, but y'all be free to fact check me. That's what I want. Someone famous, I think it was Langston Hughes, and somebody check me on this, or Frederick Douglass. Don't trust nobody information but your own. Yeah, I think that was Frederick Douglass. That sounds more like Frederick Douglass, but y'all talk in the chat and check me. Because I got all this information, all this stuff going on in this little bitty brain, and I'm not able to keep up with everything. But one thing I am going to do is I'm going to always stand on the truth. So I was molested when I was 4 years old. It was a situation to where My mom was working. She was a young adult with 2 children, had just left a marriage with my father and relocated back to her hometown. And yeah, I think she was trying to prove her validity in society and not be another statistic. So basically, she wanted to work. She did find a significant other. I don't know if she found him or he found her, but however it went, they were a couple. And her significant other ended up molesting me. And he was a police officer or in law enforcement. And he preyed on us because he took advantage of a vulnerable situation. Just imagine this young lady that's what? I mean, my mom couldn't have been no more than 20, 21. She was young. You take this young mother who had really been pretty much sheltered in a small town all of her life, and she gets married to a big time city boy, and he enlists in the army, and it don't work out. They get married, they're, childhood sweethearts or whatever you want to call it, and it end up not working out. So she packed her 2 children and she goes back to familiar turf where her family, where her mom is and her father is. And I mean, that makes sense to me. And I don't know, maybe she went back a little too familiar because the guy that molested me was a friend of the family. And that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of times, if you look up statistics, it be, and I'm gonna talk the way I talk, it be the people closest to the family. It be somebody circulating right there in the village. And so that's how not eating a proper diet can affect one's thinking, to where he would prey on a vulnerable situation of a young mother, single mom of 2 children. What was he eating? That's what I want to know. What was he eating? Because I know during the 80s, we was eating pig, we was eating beef, we were eating chicken, all type of stuff. Now laters, sodas. I mean, I progressively seen our diet get worse and worse over the years. Therefore, I'm able to sit in front of this camera today and speak on it, and genuinely speak on the diet we've been living. And if we dissect the word diets, right in the middle, the root word of diets is die. Okay? It dies, basically. So what's dying? And I'm going to tell you, to all my saints and all my philosophers, the ones that really dissect these words and know the meaning of these words, that's I don't want to die. I don't want to die. So I became livid. I started to live it by changing the way I eat. It thus changing the way that I eat changed the way that I think. And that's all I want us to do, is think. If we truly want to be here for our children's children, and if we want to, maintain wealth, we have to be here to do that. And that's optimal health. So yeah, back to the child molestation. I was molested. My mom had got a job in the daytime. He was working in the evening in law enforcement. And basically, when she would go to work on the daytime, he would become very aggressive. Now, well, I'm not going to say he became a lot of things. He became a monster. Now, did he display behaviors before then that would prompt him to do that? I would say yes. What type of pressure was my mom under? I don't know. I don't know how far against the wall her back was. I'm not really for sure. But I can only tell my story and imagine. But the fact is, he molested me. And he had an illness, a mental illness. My mom was ill at the time as well. She had been diagnosed with lupus. But her whole thing was that she was going to do everything that she needed to do as a mom to make sure that my brother and I were well taken care of. That was her mind frame at the time. And you know how it is, ladies, single ladies, when you have children and you're a single mom and you got a new boyfriend and you just want to prove to the world that you're worthy and that you can be what society says a good mom is supposed to be. You know, I mean, hindsight looking back, I wish my mom could have just stayed home and took care of us and went to school. You know, and sometimes I wonder if, you know, working and being westernized and having a job and, you know, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if she would have did some things different, that, you know, that maybe possibly that wouldn't have happened. But the truth of the matter is it did happen. And it doesn't, I don't necessarily look at her as a bad mom because it happened. Now, do I look at him, the predator, as a monster? Absolutely. Do I think that my mom could have been a little more attentive? Yeah. But at this point, I don't even know that I'm judging either one of them. I am in therapy. And it's not an easy thing to deal with. But anything worth having is never easy. Anything worth gaining is never, you know, it's never easy. So, yeah, it is what it is. But when you change your lifestyle, as far as eating a plant-based diet, your body, your mental, your physical, everything, your whole being changes. And it's a beautiful thing. You know, it's like watching a caterpillar form into a butterfly. Sounds cliche, but that's what it's like. That's what it feels like. It feels like finally my beauty is shining from inside out, if that makes sense. Because I'm able to talk about it, and I changed my eating habits. And I don't know if I wouldn't have changed my eating habits if I would be able to even talk about this. But, you know, it really wasn't what I it was what I stopped eating. That's what it was. It was all in what I stopped eating. It was all when I stopped eating chicken, and when I stopped eating beef, and when I stopped eating turkey, and when I stopped consuming so much sugar, and when I stopped drinking soda, and when I stopped eating processed foods. When I reduced the amount of processed food I eat. That's where it started at, and it made me deal with some hard things that I had never dealt with before, but it gave me the strength, it empowered me, and it gave me a voice, because for so long, when you suppress those things, they're gonna come out. They're gonna come out. It's just a matter of when and how. But your behaviors, the way that trauma affects you, is definitely going to show up and resurface in your behavior. And it's just a matter of self-control. Are you going to let it control you, or are you going to control it? And, you know, I want self-control. So, there you have it. But yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about this subject. But I'm going to have to give it to y'all one step at a time. And y'all just have to be patient with me. And I appreciate y'all for watching. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. And just stay tuned, man. It's going to get real deep. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be emotional. It's going to be a roller coaster. But I just want y'all to, you know, stay tuned. And remember, optimal health is wealth. I'm your girl, Samira La Rosa. And thank you for tuning in. Salam. Peace.